Yo, so the other day I went through a drive-thru to get me some french fries and they told me it's gonna take a few minutes, so go to the parking lot and wait and we'll bring the fries out to you. I was like, okay, that's fine. While I wait, I'm gonna like clean out my car and stuff. Big mistake. So I go to my trunk and open my trunk and all I hear is, oh, there she go, you should smile. And I did a little quick little, like so he didn't see me because I didn't know who the it was. And after I glimpsed, I was like, that's this nigga. I went on a date with this man and it was the worst date of my life. And I'm usually not the one to go on dates with people I know I don't like. So why I went on a date with him, I don't know, but I did it anyway. So first off, he was obnoxious as a... We get there and we walk in, the waitress is like, oh, do you guys want a tall table or a short table? I'm like, a tall table is fine. He was like, I want that booth over there. She was like, that's for 6 or more people. He's like, so, but I want it. I was like, ma'am, the tall table is fine. The manager walks past. He was like, hey, I want that booth over there. And the manager is like, that's for 6 or more people. He was like, so, but I want a booth. I want the booth. The manager's like, well, you can have the tiny booth over there all the way in the corner. He says, that's fine. I'm like, nigga, I don't want to there. But I'm like, whatever, I'm going to let the nigga have it because he's already obnoxious and pissing me off. And I didn't want to be on a date anyway, but I went. And he wanted the booth so that he could stretch out. Nigga, you're 5'7". So we get our food, and he takes forever to start eating. And as in restaurants, they do, they ask, how's your food? They come around and ask how your food is. The manager asked how our food is. He was like, damn, I didn't even take a bite yet. Can I take a bite? Literally most obnoxious I ever met, and he's too old for that. Oh, did I mention he was 44? I didn't know he was 44 till we got there. Like, nigga, my daddy is 44. That's the bad thing about black don't crack, because you never know. But anyway, he starts eating. He proceeds to tell me his sob story about him and his baby mama. So one tells me they've been on and off for 20 years. He's put her out 12 times. And then riddle me this. He says she has 4 kids, 14, 12, 8, and 7 months. Then tries to convince me they've been on and off for 20 years, but only the 7-month-old is his. There ain't no nigga on this planet staying with a that had 3 kids on him. Niggas leave for less. Then tells me the last time that she put him out is because she asked him for money because he never owned a lease because his credit is. And he was like, I had the money, but I told her I'd give it to her in the morning. Nigga, that's why she stabbed you. Oh, yeah, my bad, y'all. She stabbed him, once in the back, once in the arm. He told me this on the first date. But thought I was going to come help him decorate his apartment in Corona when he get the apartment because he's staying with his cousin right now. Then he tells me one of the times that she put him out was when she put him out of the house that he quote-unquote bought, but it was in her name because his credit was bad. So he moved to Miami and was living in a house on the lake, as he put it, with this other girl. And when his baby mama called him, he's like, I broke the girl heart out there to follow my heart out here. I legit convinced this man that I lived in a city that I didn't live in, and I got on 2 freeways going the opposite direction after the date because he was behind me to convince him that I live where I said I lived, but I really didn't live there.
Y'all, I really do think that karma is real, and I'm about to tell y'all about the time that I got my karma instantly within a couple of months. So I had this friend that was always getting in trouble catching cases, and she was going to see her lawyer one day, and she asked me, could I go? So, of course, I was like, yeah, I'll go with you. Cool. When we get to the lawyer's office, he's basically explaining to her, like, he don't want her to get in no more trouble. He said out of his own mouth, not even a traffic stop, I don't want you to get in no more trouble, and I'm going to get you out of this case. She told the lawyer that I was her sister, so he was like, and sister, I need you to make sure she don't get in no trouble. And I was like, I got you. She ain't going to get in no more trouble. Just to put y'all in the mind frame of what time it was the winter in Detroit. Soon as she leaves from the parking lot and she's like approaching a red light, our car starts sliding and she hits the back of somebody's car. Yes, hits the back of somebody's car. So she's looking at me, I'm looking at her like, we just said that we weren't gonna get her, I wasn't gonna let her get in no more trouble. She like, what should I do? I say, pull off, drive this bitch, floor it. So now she's flooring the freaking car. She's trying to get out of there. We gets out of there, but the car is chasing us down. They are not trying to let us leave. So I'm directing her each and every way of how to get out of there, and we finally get far away from these people. We pull over on the side of the road, ducked off on some street, some blocks away, and we checks her car. The whole front of her car is hanging, but we didn't care. We just like happy that we got away from those people. I helped her tie her car up, and then we headed out. Fast forward. So I had a 2016 Jeep Wrangler, and one day I'm chilling. I'm going to go get some ice cream. I'm in the turning lane in front of the ice cream place getting ready to turn in, and somebody, boom, hit the back of my car. Now, I've never gotten in no car accident, so the fact that somebody hit the back of my car was so random. I gets out of my car, and that boy is just messed up. The whole thing is messed up. It's some dude fresh from out of jail telling me about how he didn't mean to hit my car. He was just came home from prison and he was just, please don't call the police on him. I got a kind heart, so I ain't called the police on him. I end up just paying my insurance and getting it fixed. But I waited to get it fixed. I waited like a month before I wanted to go and get it fixed. I was just riding around because it wasn't that much damage. Tell me why the day after I got it fixed, I'm in cosmetology school at this point, and I'm driving to school. And guess what? This lady hits the back of my car in the same spot. I was on the phone with my mama when it happened, and I was just crying like, no, I waited to get this fixed, and I can't believe that this just happened to me. Y'all, she gave me a fake number and everything. She really tried to get down on me. But I took a picture of her license plate, and she saw that I took that picture of her license plate, and she ended up coming up to my school because she knew what cosmetology school I went to and trying to fix the situation. But don't do stuff if you ain't ready for the karma.
This is what we are talking about when we say the scariest thing on planet Earth is a man with his feelings hurt. Tell me why I just got a knife pulled out on me and the police called, all because I told a man no. I'm just gonna start from the beginning. So I have been talking to this guy on and off for about like 2 years, and we had stopped talking because our personalities weren't meshing, we just weren't vibing. So fast forward to about 2 weeks ago, he's hitting me up again, how he misses me, how he wants to hang out, how he wants to do over. And I'm like, all right, fine, let's just fuck it, like let's just hang out. So then we start talking again. I told him to come over. He comes over. I'm thinking he drove here. I don't see him get out of his car. He's just standing there. I'm like, oh, okay, you want to drive to the library? I have some things I have to take care of. So we can just walk. And I'm like, okay, I mean, I walk everywhere. I mean, it isn't a big deal. We start walking, right? Everything's perfectly fine. We get to the library. I take care of business. You know, I grab some books. We're having a good time, laughing. What I think is having a good hangout. We're just vibing, you know? So at this point, we leave the library. We're walking back and we're discussing dinner plans. And as we're talking about dinner plans, he talks about how after dinner he wants to stay the night. And he had mentioned that previously at the library. And I was just like, yeah, so funny, like laughing it off because I'm like, we never discussed you staying the night. Like, I love how you're assuming you're about to stay the night or probably get some too or something. Like, nobody, like, no. I'm like, no, like, you need to leave after we get done eating. And he's just like, what do you mean I have to leave? I was in the person, we're gonna hang out and we're gonna stay here, we're just gonna vibe. And I'm like, we've been vibing for the last few hours, but like, no, like after dinner it'll be time for you to leave. I don't want company, like I want you to go. Right. So then at this point, he's upset. He's feeling like I wasted his time. He feels like he drove all the way out here for nothing. And I'm like, I love how before you never mentioned your time was wasted, but now that I told you can't stay the night, now conveniently your time has been wasted. Like, no, it's giving you weren't getting what you wanted and now you're mad about it. So at this point, he's being super loud. He's intimidating me in the middle of the street, giving hella fucking energy, trying to say I'm manipulating him and being crazy. And I'm like, you're trying to coerce me or force me into letting you stay the night with me. And I'm like, no. So at this point, I just walk away because I'm like, I've come too far mentally, spiritually, and maturely to have this conversation. You're done. So at this point, I turn and I start walking. Like, I'm walking away from the conversation because I don't want to deal with this right now. Like, I can't, I won't. So I'm thinking he's walking maybe a couple feet behind me because he parked in the same parking lot as where I'm staying at, you know what I mean? So he has to get back to his car, right? So I get back inside my place, I close the door, I'm eating Takis, you know, just chilling, getting ready to go to bed, right? It's a big boom, 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 boom at the door. And I'm like, I know this man not at my door right now. So I open the door and I'm like, yeah? And he's like, can I talk to you? And I'm like, oh my goodness. So I let him in and he's like, I am hella upset. I'm really frustrated. I'm really mad. And I'm really scared right now. And I'm just like, I'm kind of laughing because I'm uncomfortable. Like, it's a trauma response. Whenever I'm hella uncomfortable, I just start laughing. I just can't control it. I'm sorry. So I'm laughing. He's like, you think this is funny? And I'm like, no, it's not funny, but like, I just don't know what to do. I don't know how to feel right now. This is like unreal. So then he proceeds to tell me that he got back in his car and he was driving away. And then like, he lost control of his car and his car broke down and he swerved and hopped a fence and was in someone's backyard. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, are you okay? And he's like, yeah, I'm fine. His outfit isn't messed up. He doesn't have any scratches or bruises. And I'm like, you left your car there? Who does that? I'm like, did you call a tow company? And he's like, no, I didn't, because I don't have a license, the car isn't registered in my name, and I don't have insurance, I don't have tags or whatever. I'm just like, well, you shouldn't have been driving then. Like, what the fuck? And I'm just like, they'll still come get the car. Like you left the whole scene of an accident. Like, no one does that. And I'm like, at this point, I'm like, can I see? Like, can you take me to where the accident happened? Because now I don't believe you. I feel like you're lying, trying to, again, coerce me into letting you stay the night. And I'm like, the lengths these men will go through for something. So then he's like, I'm not going to take you to the scene of the accident because I'm uncomfortable. I'm like, you're uncomfortable, I'm uncomfortable, giving full fast from euphoria energy. Like, you're confused, I'm confused, bro. Like, I don't know. I'm like, what the So then he's like, I don't care about the car. It's just a junkyard car that I got from some guy. It was like $3,000. I'm not worried about it. And I'm like, you walked all the way back here from the car accident, didn't bring anything from your car? Like, that's weird. I'm like, well, can't you just call like a Lyft or Uber home? And he's like, no, there isn't any Uber drivers or Lyft drivers available right now. And I'm like, I'm the Uber and Lyft queen. If you know me, I Uber and Lyft everywhere. So I'm like, if you confirm the ride, they will eventually find you someone. It might take a little bit longer, but eventually you will find a driver to drive you back to where you came from. Like, what the fuck? At this point, I'm thinking, like, do you have somewhere to go? Do you have money to pay for a Lyft or a Uber? Or like what's the situation right now? Because it seems like you do not want to go home. And I'm thinking maybe like he has nowhere to go. So I'm like, can you even afford a Uber or a Lyft right now? He's like, yeah, of course I can afford it. And I'm like, okay, you're getting a little defensive now. At this point, he's getting a little bit loud with me. He's like, I feel like you're being completely fucking insensitive. You're being super selfish. And if the roles were reversed, I would not do this to you. And I'm like, the roles wouldn't be reversed because I would not be pressing to stay with someone who clearly does not want me here. What the So at this point, he's like, I'm getting frustrated, I'm getting angry, and pulls out a knife and slams it into the dresser. And I'm like, what the So I don't know what he thinks he's gonna accomplish with pulling a knife out on me. So now I'm like, yeah, you definitely gotta go now. Get the out of my spot. Like, you're done, eliminated, terminated. Like, it's KO. Like, you're out of here. Like, no. Like, I'm not leaving. And mind you, this entire time that he's going off on me and screaming and yelling, I am calm and collected. I'm laughing and freaking out now because this whole situation was so crazy. I just can't believe this shit happened. So I'm like, if you don't leave, I'll just simply call the cops. He's like, what are the cops gonna do? As he's walking out. And I'm like, yeah. I close the door. I don't call the cops. Why? Because he's left now. I'm thinking he'll figure it out. He's a big boy. He's got it covered. He got himself all the way out here. He can get himself back home. Like, what? This is the stab mark in the dresser where he dragged the knife all the way down. So now about 20 minutes go past and there's another bang, bang, bang at the door. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, back again for part 2. Like, what the I open the door up. To my surprise, it's the police. And I'm like, I didn't call you. Who sent you? He's like, can we talk to you for a second? Are you Brianna? And I'm like, yeah, you guys can come in. So they come in. Come to find out, he called the cops, went and told the front desk people that I pulled a knife out on him and threatened to kill him. And I'm like, yo, what? Like, why would I even want to kill you? Like, what are you talking about? Like, you're crazy. Like, I'm just in shock. So they're questioning me. They're asking me what went on, like what's going on, the messages, like the whole story of what happened, right? I tell them everything that happened. And like they end up arresting him. And I'm just like, moral of the story, like, don't be that guy. Don't be that guy who gets so upset and gets so mad. Do not be that guy whose feelings get hurt so bad for being told the word no that you throw a whole tantrum and then stab a knife into a desk, call the police, and get yourself arrested. Like, now was that smart?